Do you see yourself marrying her?
To your point,
yeah,
marriage
yes,
is not the ultimate goal for me.
yes.
I do want to get married.
Well, that's good.
I do, but listen. So the thing about that word of "well, marry the girl," I'm not saying that to you directly. I'm
Right.
saying that to the people who see this and their response. We're so trauma bond by this thought of get married, have kids.
Yeah.
That's the way that the propaganda of life that everybody has been putting in our faces to say, okay, get married, have kids, whatever. Not or overlooking or not identifying that that's still a way for the devil to dwell in.
You know, I have to say, so marriage for me, when I think about marriage, right? We have to understand that, first of all, a marriage license, which is different from marriage, but I think a lot of people get caught onto the marriage license part, wasn't even established. It's really new. It happened in 1929, and it happened so that black men couldn't marry white women. It was illegal. So now you can't get your marriage license. You're not really married. That's what the marriage license is rooted in. But I do believe that and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about anyone in general. This is just my opinion. If you found a person that you feel in alignment with, that a man, because I feel like men don't even feel safe to be themselves in 2024. You know, there's all of these different things trying to be like, you need to be a man. You can't be vulnerable. If you cry, I'm gonna leave you. Like, oh, so you're telling this man he can't be human is essentially what you're saying. If you're not a safe space for him, why would you choose him? But what I hear, and when I hear people that say, I have a woman that makes me feel safe, that makes me feel seen, that makes me feel heard, I understand why it'd be like, let me choose this person because I want to honor her in that way. Now, for me, when I think about marriage, there's a difference between marriage, which I think God has to be in the picture. And if it's not a God thing, I don't think marriage should even really exist because God is the barometer, right? That's the integrity point. But I also think that a marriage license, if you're not a God-fearing person, that's solely in protection of the person that you met.
For sure.
And if you have a good person, then it's almost like, do you want to know my idea of a marriage, of like the non-godly version? This is what I would say for people that are like, you meet a good person. I believe we should leave people off better than we found them. So the first 3 years, oh, wash your hands. You take what you had, I'm gonna take what I have, like we're good. 5 to 10 years in a prenuptial agreement, this is what it looks like for you. 10 to 15 years, this is what it should look like for you. 15 to 20 years, this is what it should look like for you. And 20 plus years, this is what it should look like.
All right, so that's what Cam said about marriage.
He seems like a loyal lover as it relates to when he has a person he lives with, right? Because I don't think that if I remember correctly, she left him, that first one, she left him because he didn't want to be married, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I think that he would probably have still been in that relationship. I think that just like he said, the man said he don't want to be married. So you know at this point, you ain't changing his mind. He'll be with you. You'll be number one in his life, but you're not going to be Miss Newton. So I think that when you go in a relationship with someone like this, and he's shown people over and over again, and he says it all the time, it has nothing to do with you. He said this before you even got in the picture. So I think he's made up his mind that marriage is just not, important for him. And I think that women need to move accordingly when they're dealing with a guy like that. You can't change his mind.
Yeah, it actually speaks louder than any words. I could tell you enough to keep you stringing along. Yeah, we're going to do it one day. And I'm going to keep telling you probably every 6 to 8 months, just to keep you happy, pat you on your head, smack you on your ass, keep you moving. But until I actually go and get the ring and make arrangements and talk to the pastor at the church, you know what I'm saying, and book the reception hall and all that. Yeah, it's just talk. Talk is cheap.
Okay. You good over there, Kelly? Sound like you want to shut down. Okay. Hank is just
that's my bad. I shouldn't have did that. I do what I did. I apologize, Kelly, for you shutting down.
What did you do? Apology accepted. All right.
Be me.
Kelly's in the twilight zone right now.
I'm gonna play a little bit more of this clip, y'all. Here we go.
Living a lie.
I
Like,
rebuke that.
Not we're all, but there's people who are living a lie.
Absolutely.
That
Look
it's
on
like,
Instagram.
Come on, bro.
Open
like,
the app.
like it's all power couple goals, this, that, and the third. But it's like, bro, nigga, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, tell her what you really doing for that other person.
Yes.
Or, sis, tell him
About your work husband.
come on.
You gotta tell him.
Texting, because cheating comes in many different shapes, forms, and sizes,
Agreed.
and it don't always have to deal or do with the physical act of sex.
I agree.
So you said something real quick, and I have to move on. We are 40 minutes into this first sector.
Oh, wow.
But we're starting a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
In my situation,
Yeah.
I never went into or never had a conversation to say, like, I want to try something new. That's not what it is. We started off like, this is who I am. This is my triggers. This is what makes me weak. This is my negative. If we're looking at this in a very, let's say, tangible way, when we're on eHarmony, tell me something good about you.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And I'm also going to say, what is something bad about you? Blah, 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 blah. We have those type of conversations.
Important.
So it's not about me doing certain things that she's not aware of. It's when we started this journey together. We made the oath to each other, promised to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, the whole truth, so help me God. There's a thing that I feel.
Just want to highlight that point, man. When we meet people, right? If you're in the dating market, when you meet people, I think it's important to understand that you're not going to find a perfect person. And a lot of people have gone through a lot of experiences, especially if they have been active daters, and you have to be real. Like, there are going to be some uncomfortable things that you may not want to hear about that particular person. So if you're honest on the front end, then at least you give them a choice or a decision as far as whether they want to be with you. But you got to have an open mind. Like, you're not going to find Mr. Right. It's just, or you're not going to find Mrs. Right. If they are like 30 plus, there are going to be some things that you may not be too fond of. And then you have to make that decision as far as whether you want to be with them or not. I just wanted to just put that out there because everybody is just trying to find a damn Build-A-Bear, and it's just not going to happen.
Feel that triggers me in a relationship. Don't spoon feed me information.
Period.
Knowing who I am,
Yeah.
you know what the fuck I want to know.
Yeah.
If you went out with your girls, cool. How was that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. Oh man, you know, she did this and she did that. Yeah, but you're keeping out that it was a man or men with y'all. That's what the fuck I'm asking.
Period.
Don't sit up here and leave that out.
Right.
And a lot of times women do spoon feed information, which makes them just as guilty.
But it's because of the fragility of the ego.
That fragility word just flew. What the fuck is fragility?
It's when it's fragile.
Okay.
So if something is fragile, you have to be mindful of how you deal with it,
Yeah.
especially if you're dealing with a high-earning, high-value masculine man.
But if you're trying to keep it a buck,
You can keep it a buck, but we have to do it. I'm telling you, because Cam, my experience and my now is high value, high earning masculine man. I cannot be like, baby, I was out with some dudes and we all like. I probably wouldn't say it like that. I would probably say it in a way that I know that you want to digest, but you know, it's you speaking from a man's perspective, but I'm a woman, so it's different.
okay, let me tell you.
I do want to have this conversation, ladies. Coco, Sharon, you there? This is going to be important. We need some information. We need some insight. So she said that men's egos are fragile and that you have to spoon feed them information depending on that person. So if that person is an emotional being, he's probably not going to get the total truth, or they may leave out bits and parts of information. Is this true? Is this something that it may not be you? Right? It's never the people on the panel, but do you think that this happens a lot more? And we need honesty in this because I think men have to be self-aware of their egos. and if it may be interfering from the connection and being vulnerable and open as far as with everything in relationship, but also too, and this can be alarming if there's things happening and men are just not hip to it. So what's going on? Like, what can y'all see there?
Well, men are more emotional than women. Know how much how more emotional men really are, because sometimes for some reason men think when they meet a woman that the day they met someone, that woman possibly was not talking to nobody, she was already broken up, whatever it was, no man exists, no friend exists. So and then if you say that, then let me back up then, because then that insecurity kicks in, and it's like, what makes you think that when I met you yesterday and you telling me how fine I am, that I might not be talking to somebody else? So it's kind of like sometimes these men, y'all go into not so that y'all don't want a relationship, but y'all look at that woman as soon as y'all meet them in a way that they supposed to be completely prepared for you the second you meet them. So yeah, sometimes women do spoon feed men information when they're getting to know that person, because y'all just, even if the woman told you, I had sex last night, like in y'all mind, oh, I don't want to talk to this woman anymore because she had sex last night. But if she lied to you and you 3, 4 months in, y'all fall in love and she never told you that, in your mind, either if you didn't know or she finally told you, all right, well, we had just met, so a pass. You're going to find a way to excuse it because now y'all further in. But it would be a completely different reception if it was told in the beginning. So that's how I can give an example on how I feel that women do have to spoon feed men in the beginning. So
Well, also too, like bear in mind, it just tells us more about where your state of mind is at that moment. Like if you're intentionally dating, if you're talking to someone exclusively, if you're dating someone exclusively, then you shouldn't be on a date with me, because you've already bridged a certain level of comfortability and cross path a certain level of conversation where you're trying to invest in this person much more further and you're trying to court them, right? That's understandable. You shouldn't be here with me. But if it's like you're out there trying to get to know people and vet people out and really understand, like, do we align on principles, morals, values, etc., and you share with me that you just slept with someone the other night, but you didn't add the context that you've been dealing with this person, or is this person in a relationship, or someone maybe from a previous relationship, right? Then it's just different. I think it's more about where your mind state is at, right? In terms of how you're moving. Because if you're just like, yeah, I just slept with someone the other day, then I could move in a particular type of way where, like, I don't think you're trying to be courted and you're not trying to be taken serious to the point where people get to know you, or when you're trying to get to know people, as opposed to just jumping into the most, intimate and vulnerable parts of yourself with someone, or anyone for that matter.
I don't, and that's the reason why I think that women spoon feed is because we're like y'all said, we're not mind readers. We don't know how it needs to be delivered in order for you not to be triggered. We don't. So because we're not, I'm just not going to disclose.
So help me understand, how do you feel that that's very helpful in trying to get to know someone?
Helpful to
Yeah.
whom? So in a situation where we're trying to get to know somebody, everybody should be doing what's best for themselves until there's some type of commitment or somebody has invested emotionally. Until
Okay.
then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So let me ask you a question. Role play with me for a second. So what are you talking about on the first dates, or even leading up to that first date? What are those
hmm
conversations like before
I
this
ask com-
person gets to meet you for the first time?
I ask questions that have more to do about their character than anything has to do with their personal life. And the reason why is because I've been in situations where if I was intimate with a guy, it might not have been because I was interested in this guy. It just might have been like, oh, I was going through something. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for a man who I'm dating now to understand where my head was when that happened in order for me to explain it in a way that he's not offended or triggered. So that's why it's just too much to explain sometimes. And so the questions that I would ask, I would say things like, well, my favorite question is, what's your what's that? Now I forgot. What's your
Your favorite
toxic
color?
trait? What'd you say?
Your favorite color? Is it something like that?
Nah.
Well,
So tell me,
No. Like what? Like I would ask a man. I would
let
ask a man what
me
his toxic
land this.
trait is. What his toxic trait is. I would ask a man, like, if I ran into your ex, what would she tell me about you? Things like that. That kind of give me data as to who the person is, as opposed to what they might have done last weekend.
So I personally like to ask: is there someone out there who thinks that they're in a relationship with you?
I love
I
that
like
question.
to ask that. And I also ask, is there someone out there who you're either emotionally attached to or invested in, or is there someone out there who's emotionally and invested in you? The
So I don't
reason
think that
why I
part. I don't
ask
think that
those,
part. I don't think that part is necessarily the dater's business, because regardless of where I stand with that person, I might like you more. And so that person might come down a couple notches once I interact with you. It's not your job to judge where you
yeah,
land
but
in
that's
my
not how
life based
women,
on
that's not
who
how
else is
most,
in my life.
in my personal experience, that's not how most women are operating. I know that sounds absolutely amazing for this conversation and on this podcast, but in my personal experience, women do not operate or move in that
It
kind of
doesn't
manner.
sound, and that's the thing, it doesn't sound amazing. It's like kind of like Bridgerton, right? It's like I have several people around, and may the best man win. That's exactly how it is. It's nothing pretty about that. And if I'm hanging out with this person, I'm dating this person, I have feelings for this person. If I meet so and so tomorrow, I might have more feelings for him immediately. So it really doesn't matter what's going on with me and him. It doesn't. It matters what's going on with me and you.
Yeah, but what you're pretty much displaying and talking about is someone who's doesn't have emotional regularity. They just don't know how
No,
to regulate their
no,
emotion, who
no.
they're interested and who
I'm
they're
very
not
protective
interested
of
in.
my no. I'm very protective of my emotions. The person who I'm interested in, I'm very emotional with. Someone who I am not confident that they will treat me with care, stone cold.
So
Okay,
Kelly, let me ask you this.
Oh,
Go ahead,
hold on.
Lou.
Go ahead, Lou.
now I was just gonna ask this one last question. You can have it, Hank. What are your first dates like? What are your
What do you mean?
what in your
Like
experience?
dinner?
Okay, so dinner. All right, so it's usually in the nighttime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's something that I gauge. I find that women are much more easily willing to give their nights, which should be much more exclusive, than giving their daytime. During the
I have to
day,
work.
museum, but I'm talking about the I'm talking about the rule of thumb and not the exception. So just play with me.
Most people
I
have to
find
work
that,
though.
but that we're talking about typically
I
night.
understand what you're saying, Louis. I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, women are much more easier to give up their nights than they do their days. Like, there's a ton of activities that you do in the day. So that when we go out at nighttime, there's a certain aura and energy, and there's also a heightened sense of sexuality that happens because of how you're dressed, how you smell, and all these other things. People are much more invested in what you look like in the package and in the sensuality versus the conversations when you're walking through either a fair or a museum, or maybe you go to an event during the day. That's why I say I find that women are much more easy willing to give up their nights, which should be more exclusive, than they do their daytime, which you see people during the day, because at nighttime there's a level of mystery and there's all these other components that you can't compare. There's a true juxtaposition that happens during the daytime dating versus nighttime dating, and we all know this and we all experience this. So that's why I
So the
say
things
that.
that I look for on a date, it has nothing to do with time of day. And I get what you're saying, but I can't control what somebody else may feel at a certain time of the day, right? And so how I move, and I really, because my therapist taught me this, she said that I can only be concerned about what I can control. So I don't even really think about what he's thinking. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is how I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, if I'm comfortable, if he's making me comfortable. I'm essentially the chooser on the first date.
Well, let me
So do you
jump
remember
in
what
real
I said
quick.
earlier talking about being selfish? My friend Kelly said, I don't care about what he thinks. I care about what I think. But
For
that's being
a stranger, absolutely.
Well, he's not a stranger, because if you're out on the date, he's no longer a stranger anymore, man.
Well, he's a stranger until we get to know each other. So if this is the first date, we haven't gotten to know each other yet.
Well, so you don't have conversation prior to going on a date?
But he's still a stranger until I know him better.
So that's what Luis is saying. You're willing on giving your nights up to a stranger, just anybody that you.
My point
So
exactly.
what happens with
It's going
but
over
see,
our
that's the
head.
thing. That's his perspective that night that women should be like me doing it at night is me going out at night. I'm much more comfortable at night. That's the time where I'm not stressed out. That's the time where I don't have to worry about things in the daytime. I don't like daytime dates. I don't like
I got you.
daytime
I think
dates. I like to
Well,
drink. I
let
like
me
to
just chime
eat.
in real quick.
Hold on,
I
y'all.
want to say something
Hold on,
too. We gotta get done.
wait. We gotta have one mic. Let's let Hank
Why
finish up.
can't I don't understand why you can't be a solid person or a solid man in the daytime or at nighttime? Like I'm not sure what I'm making up, but it's like because
I
men
just think
think dirty
it
and
went over
because I
your
might
head.
wear something tighter at night, I'm supposed to go out in the daytime. What the fuck? Like that don't make sense.
I just think it went over your head, and that's okay.
It didn't
But
go over my head. I think it's so minute. It's so minute and insignificant that you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I think y'all think about the wrong thing.